Mapayapang isipan, go palakas. Malinis na paligid, mabuting kalooban. Go palakas, hangad na maglingkod sa kapwa't kaibigan. Go palakas, alagaan natin si inang kalikasan. Pangkalikasan, go palakas.
Hello, magandang umaga sa inyong lahat. My name is Chandra and I am the host for you this morning. I hope everybody is doing well, staying safe, staying home if you can afford to, and staying safe, whether you are at home or you're going out to work to do your job as a frontliner or as an employee, or, to serve, to do your service. So, ikinagagalak ko na maging kasama ninyo ngayong umaga. Kung kayo ay nanonood, I encourage you to stay with me until the end because napakahalaga ng ating usapan ngayong umaga. The world around us is still in crisis and ang pandemya na ating hinaharap hanggang ngayon ay di pa humuhupa. Our cases are still increasing worldwide and overwhelmed na ang mga tao, alright, ang ating bansa, and kahit unti-unti na dumarating ang mga solusyon step by step, anso na ang mga vaccines or bakuna, marami pa ding nag-hesitate, and at this point, 1 year in this crisis, di natin maiiwasan. At natural lamang iyon na tayo ay takot pa din or natatakot. So, continue watching until the end of this show because what we're going to be talking about is very relevant and very important. But before we get to that, I'd like to say hi to all of those early birds, all right, who are greeting us. Hi to Thomas Schrenkner Jr. Hi to Milay Royo. Good day. Hi to Kalindi and Kish, who are saying good morning. To Rina May, good morning rin. Ma'am Iaris, magandang umaga. To Miss Rose, nice day rin po to you. Nice Saturday. And Cheryl Lu, hello, good morning. And to Hari, na nagsasabi na maraming salamat sa pag-share sa amin ng mga importanteng bagay sa buhay. Yes, so ang ating topic ngayon ay napaka-importante din. And ang kasama natin, of course, as always, ang ating wise trio. So pakinggan natin sila.
We're in a kumbaga transient being.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning to everybody.
Magandang umaga sa inyo
Good day
lahat.
to everyone.
day, whatever time of day you-
All over the world.
Yes. Or
Good day
night pa
and,
nga, baka
Oo.
night sa iba.
Have a pleasant day always. Di ba?
Yes.
In the protection of our Lord. Di ba?
Oh, we have a change today in terms of our filming. We're filming right now. We're not live streaming. However, you can still send your comments, and our host Chandra will actually be reading them online. Okay, so join in pa rin. Okay, we're going to read your comments.
Give your comments
Give your
and,
comments. Oo.
We all want to invite everybody to be a part of this whole process that we do. The
Yes.
discussion. You know, the more who are responding to our points of discussion, the better. And we can hear you out, you know.
Yeah, we share to
Share.
you, and you also share with each other.
Yes.
You know, today, in the times like we're encountering in our country and worldwide, there's many uncertainties taking place, di ba?
Oo.
Sobrang
Beside
dami. Oo.
the normal day-to-day natin, if kunyari, think about minus the pandemic, di ba?
Oo.
What was our life then and how was it, di ba? We find ourselves even on a day-to-day basis. There are many instances in our life that we are faced with many issues that, and some of these issues can get into us, especially when it's in connection to our family, no?
Yeah,
Our
our
work,
loved ones.
our loved ones, you know.
And the life that we are used to na sana,
Yes.
no?
So of life.
Added challenges.
Added challenges
many,
with
so many.
lockdowns to
Loss of jobs.
loss of jobs to having
Loss of
loved
any
ones
feeling of
having loved
control,
ones in
no?
the hospital or
Yeah.
being worried and concerned because if we are in an environment where there are multitudes of people that live in your neighborhood, marami kayo. So this becomes, you know,
Parang nakaka-paranoid na tuloy, no?
no, it's
Parang magkakasakit lahat.
it's an add-on to our concerns because when you deal with pandemic loves to be going to places where there's plenty of hosts.
Yeah.
Diba?
And
And
ano pa nga raw ang pinakadagdag dito, sabi nung kaibigan ko nga is crisis after crisis. Kasi lalo na pag merong
Kabit-kabit.
isang nagkasakit sa pamilya, tapos pamapasa dun sa isang kapamilya,
Yes.
it's like multiplying yung
Yeah.
crisis ba? How to deal with everything at the same time. And especially this is happening to people that you love, you know, very
yes.
close to you. So it's very, very difficult for a lot of people.
Then you compound that with your inability to be able to work.
Oo. And
Right.
even the freedom to go out when you want to, wala na, no?
Right.
Yung meron pa nga ako natanggap na plea, no? It was a request. The two parents were in the hospital and they were asking for this certain kind of medicine na hindi na available na it's used for
Oo.
treatment of
Accepted
COVID
siya.
pero hindi na mabili just anywhere. So humihingi siya pwede ba kayong makapagsabi kung saan kami pwedeng makakuha
Eh
nitong
kahit
gamot?
naman oxygen, yung iba hindi na
Oxygen
makahanap
tanks
ng
din.
oxygen.
Yes,
Oo.
oo.
It's so bad now that pinalitan na nga ng style ng ibang LGU na imbis na yung i-quarantine ay yung may sakit, yun na lang walang sakit ang kanilang i-quarantine. Nag-reverse quarantine na kasi sa dami ng nagkakasakit na yun. Oo. So,
Yeah,
of
so-
course, that all adds up to our fears then. No?
Right. So that's why where do we seek our kumbaga, no, a relief? How do we seek relief?
Where
to
do
the-
we find courage?
Yeah.
Hindi
Yes,
ba?
kasi-
Kaya nga courage ang topic natin for
Yes.
today. Paano natin harapin with courage?
Yeah,
Hindi
and
ba
we
ito?
need that to survive. No?
Yes. You know, every person, when as parents or adults, if you work in the line of administration or in companies, the role of a administrator is always to make sure that everybody is well provided for within their reach in the company. Or in government, at the same time, the government is trying to manage so that the functions of our society can go on.
Yeah.
Di ba? But living in the kind of world we have, there are always uncertainties that will take place in life.
So,
There would always be things that, because one has to face it, that we are not in control.
Oo nga.
The more we
Oo.
accept this fact, the more we will seek that protection elsewhere. Correct?
usually we look to our leaders, no? So
Yeah.
kailangan the leaders look like they know what they're doing.
And even the leadership
Ang first, nakakatakot.
also are faced with a lot of uncertainties
Oo.
because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. You don't know whether there's going to be an earthquake or there's going to be, at least ngayon,
O
five,
gera.
5 days before before a typhoon hits you, alam na natin. Di ba? Alam na natin yung
Earlier na.
lakas, alam na may technology na tayo dyan.
Oo.
Pero madidikta nyo ba yung, it's so hard to be able to predict, okay, in 6 months' time, will we have enough food to feed the population? Di ba?
Or will they have enough money to buy the food,
Yes.
no?
So, in the family level naman or in the local governments, we will see that every aspects of our society always has a form of or something that will make it so a difficulty comes about in the very existence of our society. So, to address this, we make it so that ample protection is provided, di ba? And then, that's why nga may DOH para sa mga sakit. That's why nga may mga pulis para sa seguridad. Di ba? That's why there is a DepEd. It is for the education of the people. Correct? And that's why there are lines of agencies of government that will provide to make it so that there is a semblance of a society that's working
Oo, may order.
and functioning, and there's an order. But yet, when you face such uncertainties today, the question would be, how ready is the citizenry or the society to face such uncertainties?
Overwhelmed na raw.
Overwhelmed
Overwhelmed na
na
yung
nga,
mga tao, di ba?
Then there is also one of the most important sectors of the society is a society that guides this population in their spirituality, which is very vital in everyday life. We should not be separating many things because as a whole, on the end of the day, when we seek real protection, diba? Where do we seek real protection to the type of life we live in this world? Because the material condition of life, we all know, ang buhay dito, may hangganan.
Oh, yes.
It's temporary. It has its limits. Along the way, you are faced individually with individual struggles.
O, kanya-kanya tayong
Right.
struggle.
Because we're
Oo.
individuals. Then choices we make plays a role on how well prepared are we to face the uncertainties of this world. Because this world has a particular, ano yan, may nature siya. And we live in it. And we have to deal with it.
And nature niya, dualities eh.
Right.
Laging merong good and bad.
Oo.
Happiness, distress, no?
Right.
Tsaka
Talaga.
sa dulo ng ating buhay, lagi may kamatayan talaga.
Then
May
how do
old
we
age and
remain?
death, sickness.
Oo.
How do
laging
we remain
diseases.
steadfast? How do we remain stable? Now, as human beings, in a society, we have been equipped to be able to, okay, on the end of the day, these are things that we can be doing to make it so that there's a balance in our life and the ability to be able to adapt and accept the truth that we have to deal with in this world. Di ba? So, one of the traits, you find is amongst people who serve. Who serve meaning they serve with the best of what they have, right? They make sacrifices. Makikita niyo yung nature of, yung kanilang, yung katapangan,
Oo.
yung courage nila to face danger.
Yeah, to put yourself there
In
na
life.
for frontliners
Yung
natin.
mga frontliners
diba?
natin,
Oo.
kaya pasalamat talaga sa kanila kasi para ka maging frontliner ngayon, kailangan ko medyo may courage ka,
Matapang
may tapang ka.
Oo, tapang talaga.
Kaya nga isipin natin ang mga those who are actually putting their lives on the line. You know, many of us can, okay, take a step back, okay, since nasa senior year tayo, pwede tayong wag na lumabas. And everybody else will be worried about whatever, yun ba? Let the younger generation do what they should do to contribute for the betterment or for the protection of our society. But yet, at the same time, we should not be thinking we always have to be a part of the solution, old or young. No? Let's not be discouraged that we are being limited not to move around.
Oo.
Kasi we're also not want to add stress to our society, to our family. Kasi
Yun
if
na
we
nga
are
lang,
vulnerable,
hinihingi na lang nga ng mga frontliners.
Exactly.
Huwag na nga kayong lumabas. Yun lang ang hinihingi namin sa inyo, hindi ba?
Yeah,
Such a
especially the
simple request.
frontliners, diba? They're really begging because sila yung nahihirapan. But you know, they're very courageous, and when they feel afraid, they pray, and from that they get more courage to continue.
Actually, yung mga nagpo-post na mga artista about their experience sa COVID, yung mga nag-survive sila, always nasabla that their strength at the time na talagang hirap na hirap yung katawan nila, they were going through the pain and everything, and the fear, samla, yung prayer lang to God, to the Lord, yun lang ang talagang nag-ano sa kanila,
keeps them going.
keeps them going and gave them strength actually.
Yeah.
So it's very, very nice na maraming tao, ito yung nilabas nila, yung kanilang faith, yung kanilang dependence on God to be their sense of strength and courage at this difficult time, you know.
and for those who are in the
What
front
helps you
line
survive.
themselves, you know, that actual service to humanity is what inspires them. And then with that service, because, you know, when you perform such actions, right, in the heat of battle, kumbaga
Oo, parang gera kasi to.
sa gera ka kasi you know,
yes.
kasi risk mo rin ang buhay mo.
Yes.
Hindi, you're saving lives, right?
Yeah.
But you also have to save your life too,
Yeah.
but at the
Yes.
same time. But you cannot just be in a position of saving lives without risking your life,
Yes.
Yes.
You cannot do that. Oh.
right?
You cannot choose one
Actually,
for the
biglang, you know,
talagang
I mean, for
mahirap talaga.
many people, we've always thought of courage in terms of mga soldiers, mga warriors in the
yes.
battle. Parang yun, ay, ang tapang niya, hindi ba? Tapos tinitingnan niya kasi malakas yung katawan, magiting, mga ganon. But then now, with this pandemic, biglang iba yung picture ng courage, no?
Oo,
It
it's-
could be very simple, a person who's doing, you know, the frontline work.
Yeah,
and-
they accept the responsibility of
Check
caring
the
for the sick.
checkpoints.
Oh, the check.
Despite the fact that they could be sick themselves.
Sometimes, you know, we don't hear
we
about
salute
this.
your courage.
If you notice in the news, like the casualty on the frontliners in the checkpoints.
Oo.
Like if you hear, there was, I think this was about a month ago, pinapakita nila na sa mga police camps, meron na rin silang sarili nilang areas to isolation.
Oo.
Yeah,
And they're
ang dami sa
converting
kanila.
gymnasiums, they're converting facilities for those in the checkpoints
Yeah.
na nagkakasakit.
No.
Di
Kaya
ba dito in
alalahanin
our
nyo-
area, ganoon, ang nagpadami ng numbers, were the ones who were manning the
checkpoints.
checkpoints. The
Alalahanin
police
nyo kasi
got
sila
sick,
rin,
oo.
just as anybody else, they have also families,
Yun nga.
right? There's always that part in every person's life, especially those who are heads of families who are out there working and sacrificing, yeah, and risking their well-being. And in doing so, hindi naman sila excuse dahil porque malalakas dapat sila at pulis sila. Parang they will survive this, yung kakayahan ng katawan nila. Hindi ganun eh.
Oo.
Iba yung
The reality,
virus
may
eh.
casualties din sila
O
eh.
yung
Marami din.
pinsan ko, police siya, na, pero na COVID siya, at masama ang tama sa kanya dahil may diabetes siya.
Yeah, they
So,
also have
merong mga
comorbidities.
yung hypertensive yung iba, you know. So, minsan talagang malala rin ang tama. So, makita natin, iba-ibang klaseng tao ang pwedeng mag-display ng courage.
Yes.
And iba-ibang klaseng challenges ang pwedeng maglabas nitong courage na
Yes,
ito.
we need
Okay.
courage for many other things.
Let's look at another sector of our society. Those who work right now. Right? Yung mga nagtatrabaho.
Oo.
Kasi kayo rin yung, you have to keep the economy going eh.
Yeah, they have the responsibility.
Right. the younger,
Their work.
kumbaga ano, the middle sector of our, yung age group na from 20 to 55 or 50.
Yes.
Sila yung nagtatrabaho ngayon.
Yes.
So sila rin, you need to work because you're driven. I
Yeah.
have to work. I have to be a part of the solution to this thing.
Kailangan palakas sila ng loob.
Yes.
Yes.
The courage to be able to still face.
Because this is also courage in accepting responsibilities,
Yes, yes.
hindi ba? Oo.
Someone has to earn the money to buy the
Right.
food, the medicine.
And to keep the society moving and
Yes.
going. That's why this is where the leadership of ours, society right now, these are the things they try to find balance. They try to find the balance. Kung, okay, kayo na. O, sige, kami naman minsan. O, okay, itong sector, wag muna kayo lumabas. Kaya pag may mga rules of engagements tayo, o kaya mga limitations or regulations na sinasabi, our role as citizenry is to play our part.
Yes.
And that we should not be pinpointing the weaknesses or kung ano yung pagkakamali. Obvious ba? We, as a society kasi, ito rin ang pagkukulang natin as a bansa. Alam mo, how, as a people, kahit na sa dami ng mga uri-uring mga natural disasters na tumatama sa atin, pagdating sa paghahanda, nakikita natin, meron pa rin tayong pagkukulang as a society.
Hindi
Kaya lang,
handa.
Hindi na
Kasi
kaya.
naman ang
Handa.
pandemic na to, kakaiba rin.
Katulad ngayon, yung pag-aaral. Nasanay tayo as mga magulang na pabayaan natin, o hindi naman natin pinabayaan, kung hindi, hinanap natin ng magandang sitwasyon ng ating mga anak para magkaroon sila ng edukasyon outside of the family. Di ba?
Side of the home.
Yan ang outside the family settings, di ba? Sa mga bahay, sa sarili nating komunidad. So ngayon,
Hindi
papadala
na
natin
pwede
sa mga
ngayon.
eskwela.
Oo.
So ngayon, siyempre, i-recognize din natin na yung maraming mga teachers na nosebleed na sila kung paano nila papatakbuhin at paaaralin yung mga kabataan.
At pati yung mga kabataan na naghahanap ng signal para lang makakonect dun sa kanilang online learning, hindi ba?
Yes.
Everybody struggling talaga.
Courage to
Oo.
find, minsan
You-
go up the mountain
Yeah,
and
na-experience ko yan.
Saka yung alam nyo, minsan pag ikaw ay kabataan, dahil
Saan na yung signal na
siyempre,
yan?
you're still immature and unprepared to so many uncertain situations that may occur in your life. That's why the role of the parents is to provide that shelter and protection. Or the community at the same time. Let's not always... Kasi importante yung community eh. Importante yung support group sa pamilya, sa komunidad, di ba? O kaya mga clubs or mga organisasyon. Importante na we play all of our roles to be able to provide the necessary contribution so that we can still function as a society. Then you look at the farmers now. Yung may sector na gano'n, sila naman sa pagkain. Di ba? So, ang hirap. Paano ka makakakuha ng supply na tuloy-tuloy? Nawala yun eh. Yung supply chain natin na disrupt eh. So, ibig sabihin nun, everybody, one thing that we should take advantage of this is to make use of the best of everybody's potential. Here out,
Magtutulungan na tayo.
magtutulungan talaga tayo. We cannot,
Cooperation.
yeah, that's why, alam mo, for the younger people naman, because we can say your immaturity is not yet, maybe a factor that you get discouraged or you feel down that, how can I function in this situation? It's so hard. I have to do this. I have to do that. I can't go out. I can't do my norm. I can't play with my friends in the maraming ganun eh. But yet, we should learn a lot from this experience.
Yes, on a personal level, talagang we need courage pa rin talaga to
Yeah.
continue
And then,
whatever we need to
embracing what is the right thing to do.
do. Yes.
Yes.
That's why you have to hear out reasoning eh. Alright? Kailangan maging reasonable tayo dito. We cannot be just being carried by our emotional conditions.
One of the challenges na ano ngayon ng mga tao is like our friend actually recently had to already left his body, and
Passed,
hindi ito due to COVID but due to cancer. And
Ano yun, natakot siya pumunta sa ospital dahil sa COVID.
oo, hindi nag-hesitate magpa-check up.
Yes,
So,
oo,
tiniis na
marami
lang ng
ring
tiniis
ganyan,
yung sakit.
oo.
And nung nakita sa CT scan, the cancer was all over. Ngayon, kinento lang sa akin nung misis na nung hirap-hirap na yung asawa niya, sabi niya, lumaban ka pa, lumaban ka pa. But of course, sabi nung mister niya, hindi na kaya. Hindi na kaya, talagang hirap na. So there's also the courage to accept reality.
Yes.
Which
And
is very hard at the
oo.
end.
Kasi alam nyo,
It's
bakit?
really
Kasi
hard
ganyan to
also,
yan.
oo.
There are realities that we need to all face in life. Just as there is birth, there's also death. We're in a kumbaga transient beings kasi tayo.
Oo.
So, yung paghahanda natin, wag lang natin tingnan yung paghahanda na magkaroon tayo ng trabaho, education.
Yung externals,
Yeah,
no?
but yung
Yes.
education, yung paghahanda to prepare us for this eventuality that we have to leave. This, our families, our society, everything that we have
Yeah.
been so used to. And aalis tayo.
Oo.
Now, what type of preparation, what type of readiness should we be doing? Because many times, if we are left unprepared, it is hard for us to accept the truth,
Oo.
to accept what we are faced with. Alam nyo,
Denial, no?
Denial.
alam mo yung kunyari sa ganyan, yung itong binanggit mo na kaibigan na hindi na ako magpa-hospital. Maraming yun eh. If you look at that angle,
Hindi na siya magpapa-opera kasi
oo,
talagang malala
tinanggap na niya kagad.
Tinanggap niya.
Sige,
Oo.
tanggapin ko na to.
Oo.
Kasi why? If you do that, it is like you had the courage to make that decision. Na I will accept my fate already. I would leave it to the Lord in my heart to make sure that I know He is protecting me
Oh, and protecting the family.
and the family. And when I accept the fact that I don't want to go to the hospital anymore. Why? I don't want to burden the frontliners who are already burdened
Yes.
so much. I don't want to burden my family.
Yes, kasi you end up leaving all these bills.
Exactly.
No?
May mga ganon tayo eh. Alam natin na may limitation din yung, hindi ba, minsan tayo susubukan natin na, dahil mahal ko siya eh. I will spend everything. Yan naman. But alam niyo na yung katotohanan,
Oo.
let this person
Prepare
go.
na lang.
Prepare this person to go
Ihanda na
peacefully.
lang.
Kasi on the end of the
Oo.
day, we are not in control. And leave that control to ang ating puong may kapal. And on the end of the day, sa lahat ng ating mga buhay, pag ito ay ating niyakap, yung ganitong uring shelter na protection na meron talaga tayo, on the end of the day, malalaman natin yung ating limitasyon.
Oo.
So sa ating mga tagapakinig,
We hope that you can share also with us, no, your stories of courage.
And we'll have a short break so that Ate Chandra can actually read yung mga comments ng ating mga bumabati at merong mga wisdom na gustong ipaalam din sa lahat sa inyo.
and perhaps what we'll do is some of your comments, we can be reading it in our next episode.
Next show, oo,
So please.
we'll read that also. Okay. So we'll be back. See you.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll take a quick break now and just say hi to everybody who has been watching. And like Tito Toby, Tita Marisa, and Tita Socorro said, no, kung if you have stories of courage that you have experienced or that you have witnessed, please feel free to share it with us. And who knows, they might be reading it at the next episode of Go Palakas. So at this point, just want to say hi to those who tuned in while they were talking. Hi to Priscilla Lavarias, good morning. And also to Catrino Resurrection, who is tuned in all the way from San Mateo, Rizal. Maayong buntag naman, galing kay Adilila Satore, all the way from Cebu. Good morning, Vishnu Maluya from Cavite, knits you also, same to the Mainigo tribe. Thank you for watching. Good morning to Lakshmi Maluya, Vina Pasqua, Mitz Lopez Capin all the way from Davao de Oro, and Miss Rosalinda Lascano also watching this morning's session from Okinawa, Japan. Magandang umaga din kay Mike Resurrection, Aji Odmerga, Matt Resurrection, Miss Mary Salazar from Baguio, Paul Dizon, Yuan Perez, also hi to you. J Resurrection, maraming resurrection na nanonood ngayong umaga. To Arlene Tuaso Balbaboco and Rupa Das Maluya. And gusto ko lang basahin yung isang sharing ni Mike, who said that he also experienced that. Strength from God is what keeps me going in difficult times. I have no other shelter to take from, and it gives me courage. So yes, I'm sure we all have faced, our own challenges, and we continue to face them because we are also all in this together, and we have our own stories. So prayer is really something that a lot of us turn to when it comes to these kinds of times. And please share our stories, your stories, with us. So balikan na natin uli, no? Sina Tito Toby, Tita Marisa, at Tito Socorro, who will continue talking about these stories and our topic of courage.
We're back again, and we're here to continue our discussion. And we have so much more to talk about, no, for the second half of our show.
You find, see,
Yeah,
all
so-
facets of our life, we need to be courageous.
Yes, in all facets.
So
Okay.
for example, no, one thing that takes courage talaga is, di ba, to accept responsibility. As in, sinong may kagagawan nito? Sino nanira nito, you know? It's
Mahirap
very hard
magtaas
to
ng
say, ako, you know? Di ba? It really takes courage to accept that fault ko yan, I'm so sorry, no? Yun pa, isang those two words. Ang hirap sabihin, I'm sorry. It really takes courage also, no? So,
Yes.
to accept the responsibility that I did this, and all right, I will do something to try and, undo what I've done. We can't always undo it, but at least gawa natin ng paraan, no?
Actually, it's so funny, when you have a meeting and you say, ilan lang naman kayo. Tapos sabi, sino gumawa to? Sino nakasira nito? Wala nga amin.
Pag
Tapos sabi ko,
everybody's pointing to the other guy.
May multo pala kaming kasama kasi hindi nagsasalita yung multo, no?
Yeah.
So, it's very
Kami, we call it
even-
Mr. Nobody. Kasi
Mr.
nobody did it.
That's why, as we were speaking earlier, we all have a role. And we all have the capacity to be able to reason, act reasonably, and actually plan our actions. That's why it's very important yung ating pag-aaral, di ba? Pag tayo kabataan, and plus kahit tayo who are adults. Many things in life natututunan natin eh. Like ngayon, nagkaroon ng pandemya, how many generations ang going through this right now?
Every generation
Ang
that's
dami.
around.
Wag natin
Wala siyang
ikaila.
pinipili.
But yet, if we do not learn from this, how will our actions be? Katulad yung when there is a wrong. Mali talaga lumabas ngayon kung ikaw ay nandun sa kategorya na kabataan or yung senior. Don't go out. Okay? Don't add to the stress. See, all it takes is just one, kumbaga simpleng decision lang. Bawal kayo lumabas. Huwag kayong magsasabong, ha? Kasi may mga nahuhuli, nagsasabong pa rin eh. Yung mga nagsusugal. Yung mga ganun ba? Kasi alam nyo bakit?
Habit yun
Try to
eh,
understand
bad
this
habit.
fact that nakasanayan kasi natin eh.
Yun na nga.
Paano natin babagawin yung mga bagay na hindi dapat natin ginagawa? In the first place, may mga bagay na sometimes hindi naman natin kailangan yung mga ganun eh.
Kasi minsan yung iniisip ng ibang tao, kaya sila mag-iinuman para makalimutan yung problema.
Lalong nagkakaproblema.
Lalong magkakaproblema nga ngayon pag nag-inuman pa.
Nagsama-sama
Hindi ba?
kasi kayo eh.
Oo.
Tsaka even in normal times, kadalasan, pag mayroon bisyong ganyan, hindi ba nagkakaroon ng problema no matter what? Kung hindi
Oo.
problema sa katawan, sa problema sa pag-iisip. Kung hindi sa
Oo.
problema katawan at pag-iisip,
Minsan maaksidente ka.
sa aksidente. Kung hindi problema doon, yung away.
Away,
yun,
magpapatayan.
Oo,
Di
so
ba?
nakikita natin, siyempre, sabi naman ng ibang mga kumpanya na nagsusupply nitong ganito, choice naman ng tao na gawin yan eh. Ngunit sa ganitong panahon, may mga limitasyon tayo.
Pero teka ha, halimbawa kasama mo yung barkada mo, nagkayayaan. Nga, sige, inuman tayo. Di ba it takes courage to say
Courage.
no?
Oo, yun.
Kaya nga,
Parang teka,
kaya nga
bawal yan ah.
Ibinabanggit
Ang
natin
hirap
yun
to
eh.
say no.
It will take courage. Kasi
Yes.
kumbaga ako isang tao, namuhunan ako sa isang bagay. Di ba? Looking forward looking to gagamitin ko sa ganito yan eh. Di ba? So hinanda ko ang sarili ko. Ngunit kung ang nakikita mo yung, kung ang pinaghandaan mo yung kapakanan ng marami at saka ng sarili mo, di maayos. There's no
most
question.
people, sarili lang iniisip.
Pag may bagay na mga kailangan na, okay, kasi, kunyari, yung pag-iinom, sinasabi sa mga lugar na may mga eskwelahan, huwag kayo dapat mag-serve. Kunyari, kayo ay may tindahan at nagbebenta ng
malapit
ganito.
ka doon
Matatanggal
sa
yung
school.
kikitain mo eh.
Oo.
So, pinaghandaan mo, naglagay ka ng puhunan. Di ba? Yung comfort ng buhay mo, yung pang-araw-araw mo, nakasalalay din yun. Paano mo gagawin yun? Paano mo papalitan? Ngayon, ay, dapat sana sa mga ganitong bagay, kaya nga sinasabi, essentials.
Oo, kailangan klaro kung anong essential.
And maybe this is
Sa
a good
hindi,
time to break the habit.
Exactly.
Mag-withdrawal na, hindi
Oo,
ba?
at saka
Tanggalin na
sabi
yung
nyo,
toxins and get it out of your system, get it out of your
Simplify.
mind. Oo.
Simplify. Like this time of our situation in our society, simplicity comes to play it should come to play in our lives. Kasi, simplihan natin. And then, masanay tayo sa simplification ng ating buhay. Simple, bakit? Oh.
mas madali.
Baka
Mas
humaba yung
safe.
pandemya eh.
Oh, talaga.
Hindi naman natin madidikta kung hanggang ano ang hangganan nito. Ngayon, alam nyo, ito, naiisip ko ang ama ko palagi pagdating sa ganitong panahon. Ang ama ko, nakilala siya nung siya ay nagsiserve sa ating, ang ama ko kasi, yan eh, mandirigma, meaning ang daming gera na.
Veteran.
veterano
Oo,
talaga siya.
Veteran
Oo.
siya.
Sa World War II, yung Korea, yung Vietnam, yung mga ating mga naging suliranin sa ating bansa.
Oo.
Siya ay very frugal. Yung pagka-Ilocano niya, tagal napakalalim yung
And
ugali.
very courageous. He stood
And-
up for what he believed in. He stood up for
Alam
what was
mo,
right.
Pag naalala ko, meron siyang programa na inumpisahan. Kasi ito yung panahon nung nagkaroon ng martial law. Ang dami nating mga uring mga kinakailangan sa ating gobyerno na hindi nagkaroon ng embargo eh.
Dahil sa martial law.
Dahil sa martial
Oo.
law. So ang ama ko, dahil militar nga, ang ginawa niya, inumpisahan niya itong programa na called self-reliance. Yeah, in the thick of the difficulties that many soldiers are dying in the field. And he knew the feeling of soldiering. Alam niya ano yung struggle ng mga sundalo at saka pulis. Kung may pagkukulang sa iyong mga gamit. Ay nako, inangkat niya lahat ng mga bodega at warehouse ng mga ginamit ng mga armas during the World War II.
O kahit lumaluma.
Nakagrasa lahat, nakastock lang lahat. Inayos niya, ginawa niya ng paraan. Lahat ng mga sasakyan, ginawa niya ng paraan. Mga helicopter, ginawa niya ng mga paraan.
Pinaayos niya.
Pinaayos.
Oo, para may gamit sila
May gamit.
naman. Oo.
Kasi alam niya yung pakiramdam ng common na sundalo. At saka
They
yung
need
struggle
those
nila.
things, oo.
So, yung self-reliance is something that should spur us. Titingnan natin yung kakayahan natin. Huwag kang maging dependent masyado. Kung ano yung kakayahan mo, ano ang pwede mong contribution, yan ay ilantad mo at ibigay mo.
So even self-reliance requires courage.
Courage.
Kaya natin
Kasi
to.
pagbabago yan eh.
Accept responsibility.
You have to accept the fact that you have
Naglakas
to be
loob siya na, magagawa natin to ng
paraan.
paraan.
Okay, yung stand up, for what is right, and stand up, kumbaga di ba, you have to have the courage to stand up for justice
Yes.
Oo.
and what is correct. Di ba? What will protect the whole society or people in general? Right? Nauuna kasi ang tao before you eh. That's where courage begins. It is a life of sacrifice and service.
And it's not just about blaming somebody else,
Yeah.
but actually you doing something about the situation, hindi ba? Yung courage to do something. Kasi madali lang magsalita, pero to act and to actually solve the problem, that takes a lot of courage also.
And also maybe on a smaller scale, di ba halimbawa, naka-witness ka na may sinasaktan na alam mo mali. Alam mo, minsan nakakakita kung gano'n yung binubugbog na yung batang maliit, di ba? Sometimes you need to step in and protect naman. Say, hoy,
this
you have
video
to
that was
stop,"
shown to,
di ba?
O yung sa curfew violator ba yan, yung binugbog sa Laguna na talagang namatay. No?
Grabe. Biro mo, for such a small offense.
kasi this is what takes place. Kunyari, when people are not, you're unable to function in your society. You were, kasi may ganito to eh. Kaya nga yung readiness ang tawag. There has to be we have to as a society embrace that's way what goes on. What our society face, what my family faces. Nakikita natin yan eh. And then how do I adapt and prepare everybody? May readiness yan eh. And for you to make that decision, because there will be disagreements. You go to a society, for example, or an LGU, or a barangay, or a cooperative, mag-usap kayo. Palagi may disagreements eh.
Yes,
Siyempre, we have
natural.
to find the common
Common
ground.
ground.
Without fighting.
Fighting. And it has to be reasonable. Diba? We should be reasonable. We are human beings. We have to have reason in how we look at things. Kasi, alalahanin nyo, yung kung makita mo na, uy, mas maganda yung idea ng isang tao na yun, tatanggapin ko yun. Kasi minsan, you stick to your ano eh. May mga ganyan.
Opinionated.
Yeah.
You only want
It
your
takes
opinion.
courage, simple courage, but yet it makes a big difference to the point where somebody has a better decision or an opinion.
Oo.
You know, to accept the fact that his opinion is much better and I will support his opinion and give more. You know, it takes courage.
Yes. Kailangan naman, minsan naman talaga, someone has a better idea than you
it's
do.
always. Yes, for example, with young people, you know, ito yung mga teenagers, the older teenagers, yung mga age 14 to 18. Alam nyo ngayon, we all know that, you know, this age group, the lockdown is
It's
keeping you at
very
home.
hard on them. Oo.
Yeah, it's very hard on you. You can't see your friends, you can't do what you want, you know, you can't go, you know, the usual
Barkada.
teenage
diba?
joys that comes along, di ba? Yung parang carefree, di ba? Yung
Kumbaga yung mga gimmick-gimmick nila.
Oo. But at the same time, you know, there are certain things that in a given situation, there may be curtailment of your movement. But also, you look at the benefit of this. How will you learn? How will you make it so that, kasi di ba, during this pandemic, di ba, before the pandemic, di ba, meron din tayong problema sa mga teenage pregnancy, teenage drug addiction. Ang daming ganun eh, na problema.
O yan, it takes courage to say no, di ba? Wait till after
Kasi
marriage.
meron din tayong tinatawag na peer pressure.
Right, yeah.
Grabe, minsan
That's
yung
when the
barkada.
child needs, the teenagers need their courage.
You are one, you have about 10 people saying, KJ mo naman,
Ayun na
di
nga.
ba?
It's hard, but it's necessary. Kasi when you just always give in to peer pressure, you may do something na ang resulta nun, magbabago yung buong the rest of your
Oo,
life.
yes.
You
The
might be
consequences
burdened with things
will be
na
very
nagkamali
heavy.
ka.
Kasi
di ba?
sometimes, as you go through teenage life, the struggle is to learn to be responsible. Eh.
Yes, strength of character
The
yan
strength
eh.
of character.
Oo,
Kasi
be courageous.
It's
To stand up for what is right.
yeah,
What
even
you know should
even
be.
in your thinking process. Ang daming ganyan eh.
And have foresight in that situation, ano kaya ang pwedeng mangyari sa akin? Kasi minsan gusto mo lang paligayahin yung mga kasama mo.
Oo, or
pero
nadadala ka sa momentary sense gratification.
Kasi
momentary.
sometimes
Momentary. Pleasure is momentary, but
Yes.
happiness is long term.
Oo.
You know, you have to think of that.
Oo.
The courage to do the right thing.
Yes. Oo. Ako naman meron akong i-share as far as courage. The courage naman to speak out. When you have a problem with somebody or there's a problem, is to address it to the person who is actually, concerned or yung talagang tao na dapat kausapin. Because I have this experience na sometimes people come to me, pwede bang pakisabi na lang kay sir or kay doon sa boss natin na ito yung problema, no? Ito yung complaint namin eh. Tapos sabihin ko, bakit kayo lumalapit sa akin? No? Ma'am, kasi mas malapit kayo tsaka mas marunong kayong mag-explain. Sabi ko, I had to learn how to approach people. In the beginning, how to say things in a way so that I could actually bring up problems to them. And sabi ko, ako natuto, kayo rin mag-aral kayo. Hindi ko gagawin para sa inyo. Dahil lahat tayo dapat matuto magsalita directly to the person concerned and not do it at their back kasi kasi yung isang kaibigan ko, siya pinupuntahan lagi tapos lahat ng mga problema sasabihin naman dun sa akin. Tapos sabi ko, ay spokesperson ka ba? Sabi ko ganon. Ay bakit hindi na ako diretso para ma-explain ko sa kanya kung ano yung problema talaga. So basically, yung bang minsan nahihiya or natatakot or lacking courage talaga to actually talk to a person directly instead of at their back, backstabbing them or criticizing them at their back, this will not help solve the problem.
It
So,
actually makes things worse.
Oh,
Because
yes.
messages, when you pass it around,
yeah,
naiiba
yes.
di ba?
oo. So even in our daily life, marami tayong challenges na will require courage, that we'll have to be, brave to even speak, even talk to people, even say no,
Yeah.
or say sorry.
Or say yes when it's necessary.
Oh, yung iba. Sino gagawa
Or,
nito? Ayaw magtaas ng kamay.
Di ba? Ngayon, we have to learn to live with a mask.
Oo.
And we have to learn how to really live with each other kasi sometimes you're stuck together in the house when you're not used to
So,
it.
alam nyo, kagandaan yan.
Oh my God.
Yung patience, di ba? Yung values of tolerance,
Yeah.
di ba? The courage, and being courageous, we
You
all...
have the courage to figure out how to get all those nice other qualities, no? The other
Kasi
nice qualities that you
being
need.
courageous, you have the courage.
Kaya ko to. Ganun.
The nature of courage is, especially people who's got this courageous. Kung ang mga tao na yung courage nila napaka...
Malakas. Oo.
And it's...
Overflowing.
And you'll see these people are the same people who are always, they are not afraid to take paths that have not been taken before.
Yun ang ano nga,
Yung
Yung mga
time.
pioneering na
Yeah.
tao.
If people
Very
are doing
courageous.
something new or creating changes,
Yeah.
usually yung status ko, yung mga, bakit na naman ganyan?
Madaming
hindi ba? Sabi,
maraming
Huwag ka nang
negative.
ganyan,
Oo.
gano'n, no?
Oh,
Huwag
marami
na
rin
natin
kasing-
palitan, gano'n.
Ang tawag mo dyan, yung mga bystanders ng mga manunood.
They
They don't want to rock
the
the
same
boat.
thing.
They don't want something
But yet you
new.
will find, we should encourage everybody to
Yeah.
learn.
Encourage. Bigyan ng lakas loob.
Encourage is the word, not be discouraging,
Yes.
Kasi this is
Parang
so
may
important.
empowerment
Yeah.
sila, no?
Kahit nga ngayon yung mga strategies na binibigay sa atin ng mga tao, how to be more healthy, you take these supplements, you do this exercise and everything. Everything is challenging people to make changes in their life.
Yeah,
know-
and it's now that we need people who think out of the box.
Oh,
Kasi
yes.
bagong
It's not only
problema
that,
to
but
eh.
for us as individual, who have not been conditioned, or we have been conditioned to living a certain way. Kunyari ngayon, para mapalakasin ang sarili mo so you don't end up going to the hospital, siyempre, there are steps you need to take in your life. And it takes courage.
Yeah.
Let's say if you are to, kunyari, sanay ka maglakad sa beach. Bigla ngayon, bawal ka maglakad sa beach.
Bawal nga ba?
Yeah, I'm just talking about,
Okay,
ano,
kunyari, okay.
okay.
Huwag
kumbaga,
naman,
ano,
huwag niyong ibawal
Bawal.
yan.
o kunyari,
Pampalakas yan.
hindi, may ganun, bawal eh.
Oo.
Bawal to have crowds eh. O
Kasi
kaya-
nag-uumpukan, nag-chismis doon sa
O
beach.
kaya pumunta ka sa barangay mo, kunyari, sanay ka, doon ka naglalakad palibot-libot tuwing umaga o nag-exercise,
Exercise.
biglang naka-lockdown sa loob lang kayo ng bahay.
O run
Ngayon,
up and down the stairs na lang.
Okay,
Exercise.
you have to be, kumbaga on your own. Be
Gawa ng
brave and
paraan.
have courage.
Oo.
Gumawa ka ng paraan. Kunyari, ang
Finding
pagkain
ways.
hindi palaging makukuha mo yung gusto mo. Right?
Oo. Yeah.
Minsan,
I
you don't
just
have to be
remembered-
courageous eh. You just need to be practical. Kung
Yeah.
ito ay hindi forthcoming sa atin, nagkukulang tayo sa ganito, nagkukulang tayo sa ganyan, hindi, alam nyo, minsan, sa pamilya, hindi natin mabili lahat ng gusto natin. Correct?
Yeah.
Tapos,
Lagi naman.
kasi
you
tayo
can't buy
minsan,
everything.
hindi na tayo kakain ng 3 meals at saka 2 merienda in one day.
Or even 3 meriendas.
Okay. Or merienda before you go to bed.
Oh,
Di
yun
ba?
nga.
Maraming ganun eh. There's certain habits you have adapted to eh. Or you have been doing. And then ngayon, pag pagbabago. Tapos sabihin nyo, ay nako, ha? Kaya ba natin mabuhay pag 1 meal a day na lang tayo o 2 meals a day?
Kaya, promise.
You know? Alam nyo, gawin nyo yan. Have the courage to try to make such changes in your life, you will find. You'll be healthier. Okay, or shift your diet.
Uy,
Ano?
nung nag-plant-based diet tayo, ako noon maraming kontra, may pressure
Ay, oo.
din,
Oh,
di
it took
ba?
courage, di ba?
It
To
took
stick to that.
courage. Pati mga
Tapos alam nyo,
kamag-anak, galit
siguro,
na galit.
siguro
Especially
ngayon,
kamag-anak.
siguro ngayon, ano na, ang mahal ng pork eh. Tsaka nakakasira pa ng ating, kumbaga ano, ang daming
Environment.
negatives eh. Pero yung pagbabago yung isa sa pinakamahirap. So we need to be courageous. You know, sa ating mga tagapakinig, maraming salamat sa inyong pagtatangkilik at saka alalahanin natin sa buhay, pag tayo may protection from within, we feel that protection. We embrace that protection from within. And we are given the very process so that no matter how difficult life may be, you be like the lotus flower who rises above all this muck, this mud, the more difficulties, but you will always find the lotus flower or the lotus plant adapting. No
they
matter
rise
kung
above.
napakaputik na yung napaka-polluted na si lotus plant, mabubuhay pa rin at lalabas yung isang napakagandang bulaklak.
Beautiful. No?
Okay? So, you know, it is an example of, wow, we can live this way.
Yeah.
If we take and embrace the shelter of our most beloved, the Lord in our heart, right? Who's always there, who's always providing guidance to us. On the end of the day, praying and meditation. Make sure that this is done upon waking up in the morning and before sleeping, one becomes thankful for such feeling of love. On the end of the day, it's to love and be loved. You know, this is the most important that we are always longing for. And this is also a real protection and shelter.
Yeah.
So thank you so much.
Yeah.
And we'll
Thank
see you again in
Thank
the next
you.
episode.
Yeah, as we
Maraming
leave you
salamat.
today, please remember the best way to turn our fears into courage is to pray.
Yes.
All right. Ating pasalamatan, sina Tito Toby, Tita Marisa, at Tita Socorro. Tama ang sinabi ni Tita Marisa, ang courage or ang tapang ay nanggagaling sa loob. At ang prayer or ang meditation, actually, which is also a type of prayer, is how a lot of us can start to be or to continue to be strong and brave. So I'd like to, at this point, say hi, okay, before we go to those of you who have tuned in a little later. Hi to Dixie Pamos, Ananda Tevesgo, saying a pleasant good morning, watching all the way from Zambales, to Miguel Vargas, Iris Celeste Festin, to Ver Enriquez from Zambales, to Aja Krishna, Francis Go, and Tanya Davy. I'd also like to read yung sharing Dixie. She said, that she lost, or I'll read it in her words rather. Dixie said that, or shared that, I lost my husband 5 years ago, and most days it feels like yesterday. It never gets easier. I had known heartache before, but this transcended every previous emotion I had ever experienced. But it takes courage to somehow carry on. And the healing sound meditation was her way, was my way to find my ground again. Thankful that my faith in this process is helping me through it. Thank you, Lord. And Miguel Vargas also mentioned or said that in response to what Sina Tito Toby were saying about, and Tita Socorro was saying about peer pressure, no? Teens want to blend in because they don't want to be labeled as different, and that is the reason why they go with the flow. And he says that they continue to do coastal cleanup, even if MECQ in Dalumpinas, La Union. The barangay council supports our advocacy. That is very, very nice that your community is very supportive. And Rupadas Maluya also says, thank you, Gopalakas. The topics being discussed are so in time during these difficult times. We are all experiencing, regardless of one's status in life, and anyone can use your good counsel in their lives in a very practical manner. More power to the Gopalakas program. So more power to all of you also for tuning in and continuing to watch or follow this program. I would like to end this show by saying thank you to all the frontliners, the workers and businessmen, the teachers, the leaders, those of you who are at home, all of you, all of those who are in service, and to all of us citizens who are doing our part to have courage in these circumstances. Let us all have courage to accept and face reality, to not neglect or let go of what is our duty or our responsibility. The courage to say sorry if we were not able to do our responsibility or if we did wrong, to be able to speak up, to say no to things that we know is not necessary or will just add to the problem or burden of what we are facing. To say yes naman if we have the ability to do something, to undergo the sacrifice that is needed, to be self-reliant, and finally the courage to accept and make positive change that is needed. So with that, we end today's show. Have a good day, everyone. Please continue to stay safe, stay well, and continue sharing your stories of courage by writing it in the comment section or by sending us a message on our hotlines. So have a good day, and let's all have, from this point onwards, the courage that we need to go on. Goodbye.
Haribo, Haribo, ni Tagore, Haribo, Haribo, ni Tagore, Haribo. Pangkalusugan, pangkalikasan, Gopalakas.